Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes of Work Reimagined. I'm Tammy Alvarez, the founder of the Career Winner Circle and co-host of this amazing event. And I am beyond excited to have Avetis Antaplyan with me today. How you doing?
I'm great, Tammy. Even better. Great to see you as always.
Absolutely. And I am so thrilled to be able to give our viewers a behind the scenes look at the absolute amazing knowledge bombs that you're going to be dropping. But before we do that, let's make sure we do a quick introduction so people know not only who you are, but also how awesome you are. So Avetis is the CEO of HireClout, which is an award-winning tech and go-to-market recruiting and consulting firm. He's been the Fortune 500 fastest growing companies. He is on all of the major lists in terms of Forbes Council and thought leadership everywhere. And we are beyond honored and excited to have you as one of our speakers this year.
I am even more excited.
And I cannot wait to see you in October. I know we've been doing some behind the scenes work on these hackathons, and I'm really, really excited to see where we're headed. And you need to tune into this if you're a leader who is struggling with getting your team to lean in and care as much as you do. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges that leaders face and have always been facing. And the need to fix this is becoming even more amplified. And the ability to fix this is becoming even more complicated. And Avetis's talk is called Align to Win, Building Teams Who Care, Commit, and Contribute. So imagine a workforce that is activated, has a sense of ownership, and is as excited about the outcome as you are. And if that feels like a pipe dream, it doesn't have to. So let's dig in a little bit more. So what are some of the either challenges or opportunities that leaders can no longer afford to ignore based on what you're seeing in the market?
First of all, thank you for the beautiful intro. I'm honored. I'm really excited about the young conference. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think, the biggest challenge I feel like, Tammy, right now, and the opportunity is talent velocity. For me, it's always been who, not what. Technology is moving so fast that there's like the gap between having the right people and winning and falling behind your competitors and frankly shrinking or dying is even faster than before. The gap is tightening really quickly, and leaders can't afford to ignore this fact. And hiring isn't just some box you check or offload to HR and say, hey, take care of it. Go post a job and figure out what we have. It's about engineering growth through talent. We forget that it's still a people business. We still need people to do the work. And those who build systems for developing, attracting, and retaining top performers will thrive. And I think those that don't will be disrupted and potentially die. I mean, it's right now, you can create a startup over a weekend. It's actually very easy. Your big technology what do you call it? Advantage is gone, right? And so it's very, very important to know you need the right people to utilize the tools and technologies to build and rapidly speed to market. Who, not what.
Well, and it's interesting because I think the pace that AI is moving in, and we had Neil Sahota on last week, just talking about just the disruption and everything that's happening. And so I think technology will ultimately level the playing field.
Yeah.
Where the giants are going to stumble, the startups have this opportunity to surge.
Yes.
But the reality is, I think the only competitive differentiator that a company will have is its people.
100%.
Because those are the ones who are going to ask the right questions and, move and have that level of agility and ownership that organizations are going to need to not only be viable in 2030, but to thrive now. And so it's interesting. And I think especially, those small and, medium-sized businesses have the most to win or lose by getting this right.
Great.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see companies making in terms of, retention, in terms of hiring, in terms of activation? So what are, the three deadly sins, if you will?
Well, I mean, for me, I think it goes back to alignment. So I really like the title of obviously the talk is people spend too much time tactically doing things, right? Like, is this person a technical fit? Are they brilliant? Or are they a cultural fit? They forget is, are they aligned? Are they aligned to our mission and values? Are they really in it for when I say the long run, I don't mean forever, those days are over, but are
Right.
they in it for the immediate current uh, push that we need to make together the next 1 to 2 years to either survive and thrive, or fail and fall behind, or maybe even die. So I think setting people up to fail, hiring them, having a shitty kind of interview process, excuse my language, and then getting great people somehow, and then bringing them into a crappy onboarding process, and then just treating them like, okay, here, we're going to warehouse you over there, go do some stuff, and without making sure that they're aligned, that the goals and the mission and the vision of both sides is aligned, and we're all rowing towards the same place, right?
Yeah.
AI is no longer just disrupting technical roles. We have to know that it's changing how every business functions and operates. You nailed it. The huge advantage big tech had over a guy like me who needed to start a company and, God, I don't have all the resources, is shrinking by the day. They still have more resources, but they can protect their lead a little bit, but they can't prevent from startups from disrupting their businesses.
Yeah. And I think the entrepreneurship becomes even more important.
Yes,
The point of alignment isn't just at the point of hiring, it's the entire life cycle of the relationship.
absolutely.
And what amazes me is that, we all know that employee engagement doesn't work, right? It's
Yeah.
been, best case scenario, it's at an all-time low now, but best case has been 30%.
Wow.
No one starts a job saying, I can't wait for this to suck. No one starts a job that way. And so, to realize that everyone has moved into this apathetic haze
Yeah.
where it's good enough. I'm really not going to kill myself, but my boss is okay. And I can still work from home a couple days a week.
Yeah.
That level of complacency not only kills careers, but it kills companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that level of engagement and effort, needs to, I think, stay the entire time, right? In terms of how we work with our teams, because needs and priorities shift on both sides, and to make sure that that alignment stays. So without giving away all of your secrets or your key talk when we're together in October, can you share with us like one surprising shift or trend that you're seeing in the marketplace right now?
I think it's that the AI is not just disrupting tech roles. I think that was most people's fears. It's like, oh man, what happens to software engineering? What happens to the? Forget that. It's changing how every business functions and operates. You don't need as many people or as much money to get things off the ground. From finance to marketing to HR, from product, they're realizing you just don't need people who can just use AI tools. They need people who can rethink everything. They can rethink workflows entirely. Uh, I think the most forward thinking companies are already redesigning roles and teams around this because they know that it's not the technology, it's the people that are going to use the technology, right? I think if we implement some AI and think it's going to do our job, we're kidding ourselves. I think that's probably surprising to people who are disappointed that AI is letting them down, or they're fighting it. They're swimming upstream and saying, no, 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 I don't believe in that. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. I think they're in for a big surprise as well.
Yeah, this is a phase. It'll all pass, right?
Oh,
Although it's interesting, I think MIT put out a study a few weeks ago talking about like low 90% of AI initiatives are failing right now.
oh, wow.
And so it is a significant failure rate, more than any tech, transformation that I think any of us have ever seen. Because we always know, tech is hard, and those implementations usually don't, go smoothly, and they're not for the faint of heart. But because of the complexity and the human element,
Mm-hmm.
this even more difficult. And one of the big conversations that we're seeing right now is the conversation around curiosity, and how, from a skill set perspective, that's something that we need to sharpen. And not only from our normal curiosity, which is who, what, when, where, and how, and maybe some why, but moving to a curiosity that's what's possible. And so when you're talking about those organizations that are thinking about reorging in a way that's more future forward, I think that is indicative of the whole what's possible conversation in terms of having those human beings who can ask those questions
Sure.
and continue to work that out. Um, what's one of the most what's one of the things you're most excited about in terms of what you're seeing in the market? There's so much gloom and doom right now. So where's our glimmer of hope and optimism?
I think that's a very good question. I think a couple things. One, companies hopefully are realizing it's still a people game, right? And that's perhaps maybe why some of that 90% failure rate, if it's accurate, is because of the people business, or is it because the plan wasn't good, the strategy wasn't good? I'm not 100% sure which is which, what came
Yeah,
first, but I think people realize AI is not something you do to people; it's something you do for people, right?
not a
And
verb.
yeah, it's not a verb. It's because it's scary when you're doing it to me. It's like, oh, there's AI, it's going to replace me. It's like, no, 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 there's AI. If you help it get implemented and built well, you won't have to do the boring crap that's bogging you down 70% of your day. You can do bigger and better things, but you have to be capable. There's one. So I'm excited about that. I think companies will. I'm glad that they're failing because it'll kind of reinstill the concept that it's still a people business and you still need to use people and their brains and their history, 10, 12, 15 years of doing something to build the AI. And then two, I think I'm very, very excited about the fact that, like you said, you're going to see a lot more entrepreneurs within companies,
Yeah.
um, that can do a lot more with less. And then two, I'm excited about what smaller companies can do to compete, right? We no longer need 10,000 people to have $1 billion business. Maybe we can do it with 80, 90, 100 people, but they have to be exceptional people. I'm really excited that more companies, smaller companies, will be able to do bigger things and will be able to do it with great, great, great people instead of a bunch of bodies.
I love that. Smaller companies being able to do, great things. And that just gives all of us smaller organizations, that aspiration to say like, what is possible? And how do we disrupt the market
Yes.
and our industry? For those of you who are not familiar with the Unconference, who may be tuning in for the first time, this is a live event being held in New York City on October 16th. And we call it an unconference for a reason, because we all have been to those events where we go and we're inspired and we're educated and we have all these great ideas on our notebooks. We meet some really cool people, go back to the office and go back to firefighting and running our business. And that notebook gathers dust on the corner of your desk. And this is not that. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of the vibe that we're creating with Disrupted, think about the vibe of think tank meets business hackathon.
Hmm.
And so, with that in mind, you're not going to sit there, although, Avetis, I can listen to you talk all day and we can definitely mind meld on all things people. But this is not where we're going to sit and listen all day. What's going to happen is each of our pillars, we've got 3 pillars, one for AI, which is hacking the pace of change with AI, a pillar around leadership, which is, leadership disrupted and really thinking about things in a different way. And then another pillar about talent and culture and how to activate the talent in a way that's going to be future forward and work. Because I think deep down as leaders, as we look across our organizations, we know that work isn't working. And that all the old playbooks that we're used to that have served us well in the past are now falling short. And so I've been on the team with Avetis and Robin, as well as Lori, and we are developing a hackathon that is amazing. Because what will happen is you're going to listen to 10-minute TED style talks where you're just going to get the best of what to think about in terms of these areas from Avetis and his peers. In the afternoon, you're going to pick a hackathon. And you are going to go into a room with these experts for 2 hours with a problem that's on your plate today. These experts are going to look into your business with you, and you are going to come out with a Monday ready playbook that you can share with your leadership team. And then shortly after that, you'll have a more extensive playbook that we'll be providing based on some inputs that you have throughout the day. And so this is not a spectator sport. This is for leaders who want to rethink how work gets done, who want to bring new and effective ways of leading into the future. So, with that, Avetis, you are in the Talent and Culture Hackathon, and so what is your intention, if for anybody who's in that hackathon, who knows that their talent is deactivated, they've got the right people, but maybe they just don't care, all of those things. What's your hope with the one thing they walk away with from Monday?
First of all, I'm very excited about what you just described, because you're right. Most conferences you go to, it's either a very inspiring speaker, which it inspires you, but then, like you said, you walk away thinking about, hey, how does this apply to my business? I think we're approaching it very differently, in the sense that we're jumping right in and saying, it's all about your business. Who cares about me? Let's talk about your business. So I think that's really exciting about the conference. As far as like one thing I would do, I'm hoping that they get out of is they go back and they run a quick talent audit of their leadership team. And you start thinking about, do we have the right people? Yes, hopefully. Are they in the right seats? Is also an issue. You could have the right people in the wrong seats, wasting their time and yours. Are they doing the right things for where the business is headed? Not where it's at today, not where it's been, but where it's headed to tomorrow. Um, you know, we tend to love our people who got us to a certain point, especially if we're succeeding. Are they in the right seats to help you do it again? If not, you have to be really smart about kind of restructuring a little bit in that sense. It doesn't mean that you have to let people go, but you have to restructure and put people in the right seats where they will thrive. Remember, it's not just about us, the companies, it's about them and what makes them thrive. I think doing this exercise alone will force clarity. You'll see gaps, you'll see misalignments, you'll spark hopefully some conversations that ultimately protect growth and retention. Because if you do this right, people know what they're headed for, and they almost re-enlist, right? They re-enlist for the next run, whether they've been with you for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or 6 months, it doesn't matter. You're getting a commitment for the next whatever, right? Hey, the next 6 months, a year, this is where we're headed. Are you re-enlisting? You sure? Okay. Are we on the same page? And how are we going to utilize your brilliance? So I think is alone very, very powerful, and just questioning everything.
Yeah.
And why do we measure these metrics? Why? It's like, who cares about these busybody metrics? Like, how does this help our business grow? So doing these exercises, starting at the top, will allow you to kind of get them excited, and potentially they can do this with their teams.
There's so many innovative ways to activate people now. And just a few small tweaks go a long way. So I'm super excited to see the output and the transformation that happens in the room, and even more importantly, beyond the room, right? Because it's not just going to be a stale notebook sitting on the side of your desk anymore. So just curious, what made you say yes to the Young Conference? You've got lots of speaking opportunities. We were just talking about how busy October is for you. So what made you say yes?
Exactly what you described, right? The way that I could always tell is would I enjoy going to the conference? If I'm not going to enjoy going to the conference, then why would I sign up to speak, besides other reasons, obviously, which are not factors for me? It's like, would I go to this conference? Would I get a lot out of it? And for me, yes, absolutely. Looking at all the incredible speakers, you and Mark, these are people that everybody could learn from. And I like that you all used a holistic 360 versus overly obsessing about one area, right? If it's just another tech conference, there's others. If it's just another talent conference, there's others. If there's another whatever, there's others. But I feel like you all have done a very nice job doing the 360, which is exciting for me, because that's how I look at businesses. It's not one side. I can talk about talent until the cows come home, but the problem is, let's talk about AI as well, from AI experts, right? And we can talk about AI all we want with the wrong people, and we're going to row in the wrong direction. I forgot the third pillar.
It's leadership. That's right.
Leadership is everything, right? Everything. So
It is the tie that binds, right?
Without exactly, without the right leadership, none of this stuff's going to come together, because you're going to have people thinking about themselves. How do I get the most out of this so I can check a box, so I can make myself more marketable, without following the vision of the company?
Yeah. And that connective tissue, right? That leadership being that connective tissue is just so important to make sure, because that's where things, either die or succeed in many
100%.
cases, right?
100%.
Super important there. Okay, so you have been in the room with a lot of innovative leaders. And I had a recent concierge call with somebody who's bought a ticket to attend. And he asked me a very interesting question. He's like, what should I do to prepare? Because he's coming ready to transform, right? And ready to have all these great ideas. And so, what mindset shift or piece of advice would you have for those who are planning on attending?
Really good. The mindset shift is treat people like your ultimate unfair advantage. Like we talked about, AI, your tech will no longer be your unfair advantage. Even if you have some, patent, which is great, I think that could be a potential part of a moat, but it's your people that have the unfair advantage. In fact, when we invest in companies, I'm an angel and I'm on some funds as well. What we look at is who and why now, right? Like, who are you? Why does this make sense? And what is your unfair advantage? What is your unfair advantage? And usually it's their people and their domain expertise. Technology will keep leveling the playing field. Like we talked about, $1 billion company, I can compete with $1 billion company tomorrow. But the leaders who invest in people, who onboard them right, who recruit them right, who grow them and understand what they're looking for and keep them engaged, which is what you keep talking about. The engagement rate of 30% is pathetic. That means 70% of our people are not doing much. They're not happy. We're not happy. They're only giving us a small percentage of what we're. If you keep them engaged, we will all win. That's how you win. It's not just hiring talent, it's building a culture where talent creates compounding returns. That's the key. I think that's where the 10x comes. It's from everybody rowing in the right direction and actually believing in those things. And if they don't, they shouldn't be there. Maybe you're not the leader for them, and you all have to be on the same page on that. So I would say just treat your people like your ultimate unfair advantage. And if they're not your unfair advantage, I think you need to look at different people.
That's right. Build or buy, right? Always a decision that we make as leaders. All right, Avetis, thank you so much for your wisdom today. I really appreciate you spending some time with us. And again, if you don't have your ticket for Disrupted Work Reimagined, you need to do that. So you'll see the URL streaming below our conversation window here. So make sure that you check the website out, apply to attend, and we'll be happy to talk to you from our concierge team. So thanks again. I can't wait to see you in October. Thanks again.
Go get your tickets, guys.